Alright, welcome back to an episode of the Guys Book Club in the Board Book Club. Yeah! And today, guys, one extremely special episode because today, guys, one episode number 372, guys. 372s. And you know what it means? It means that we have the privilege to continue our journey with people who influence the psychology of persuasion by Roman Cialdini. Page 193 to 196. And actually, it's a PDF and it's a book. It's a page 183 to 186. Let's go. Title: Psychological reluctance. The evidence then is clear. Compliance practitioners reliance on scarcity as a weapon of influence is frequent, wide-ranging, systematic, and diverse. Whenever such is the case with a weapon of influence, we can feel assured that the principle involved as a notable power in directing human action. In the instance of the scarcity principle, that power comes from two major sources. The first is familiar. Like the other weapons of influence, the scarcity principle trades on our weakness for shortcuts. The weakness is, as before, an enlightened one. In this case, because we know that the things that are difficult to possess are typically better than those that are easy to possess, we can often use items of availability to help us quickly and correctly decide on its quality. Thus, one reason for the potency of the scarcity principle is that by following it, we are usually and efficiently right. In addition, there is a unique secondary source of power within the scarcity principle. As opportunities become less available, we lose freedoms, and we hate to lose the freedoms we already have. This desire to preserve our established prerogatives is a centerpiece of a psychological reactance theory developed by psychological Jack Bram to explain the human response to diminishing personal control. According to the theory, whenever free choice is limited or threatened, the need to retain our freedoms makes us desire them, as well as the goods and services associated with them, significantly more than previously. So when increasing scarcity or anything else interferes with our prior access to some item, we will react against the interference by wanting and trying to possess the item more than before. As simple as the kernel of the theory seems, its shoots and roots occur extensively through much of the social environment, from the garden of young love to the jungle of armed revolution, to the fruits of the marketplace. Impressive amounts of our behavior can be explained by examining for the tendrils of psychological reactance. Before beginning such an examination, though, it would be helpful to know when people first show the desire to fight against restrictions of their freedoms. Child psychologists have traced the tendency back to the start of the third year of life, a year independently identified as a problem by parents and badly known to them as terrible tools. Most parents can attest to the development of a decidedly more contemporary style in the children around this period. 2 years old, they seem masters of the art of resistance to outside, especially parental pressure. Tell them one thing, they do the opposite. Give them one toy, they want another. Pick them up against the wheel, they bring it and the square to be put down. Put them down against the wheel, they claw and struggle to be carried. One Virginia-based study nicely captured the terrible twos style among boys who average 24 months in age. The boys combined their mothers into a room containing 2 equally attractive toys. The toys were always arranged so that one stood next to a transparent flexible barrier, and the other stood behind the barrier. For some of the boys, the flexiglass sheets was only a foothold, forming ignoring a barrier to the toy behind, since the boys could easily reach over the top. For the other boys, although the flexiglass was 2 feet tall, effectively blocking the boys' access to one toy unless they went around the barrier. The researchers wanted to see how quickly the children would make contact with the toys under those conditions. The findings were clear. The barrier was too small to restrict access to the toy behind it. The boys showed no special preference for either of the toys. On the average, the toy next to the barrier was touched just as quickly as the one behind. But when the barrier was big enough to be a true obstacle, the boys went directly to the obstructed toy, making contact with it 3 times faster than with the unobstructed toy. In all, the boys in this study demonstrated the classic terrible toes response to a limitation of some freedom. Outright defiance. Why should psychological reactance emerge as the age of 2? Perhaps the answer has to do with a crucial change that most children go through around this time. It is then that they first come to a full recognition of themselves as individuals. No longer do they view themselves as mere extensions of the social milieu, but rather as identifiable, singular, and separate. This developing a concept of autonomy brings naturally with it the concept of freedom. An independent being is one with choices, and the child with the newfound realization that he or she is such a being will want to explore the length and the breadth of the options. Perhaps we should be neither surprised nor distressed then when our 2-year-old strain in sentently against our will. They have come to a recent and exhilarating perspective on themselves as freestanding human entities, without questions of violation, and entitlements and control, now need to be asked and answered within their small minds. The tendency to fight for every liberty and against every restriction might be best understood as a quest for information. By testing severely the limits of their freedoms, and coincidentally, the passion of their parents, the children are discovering where in their worlds they can expect to be controlled and where they can expect to be in control. As we will see later, The vice parent provides highly consistent information. And those are terrible, it was might be the most noticeable age of psychological reactance. We shows a strong tendency to react against restrictions on our freedoms of action throughout our lives. One another age does stand out, however, as a time when this tendency takes an especially various form, teenage. Like the toes, this is a period characterized by an emerging sense of individuality. For teenagers, the emergence is from the role of child. Before of its attending the parental control, towards the role of adult. Before of its attending rights and duties. Not surprisingly, adolescents tend to focus less on the duties than on the rights they feel they have as young adults. Not surprisingly, again, imposing traditional parental authority at those times is often counterproductive. The teenager will sneak, scheme, and fight to resist such attempts at control. Graphic illustrates the boomerang quality of parental pressure on adolescents' behavior quite so clearly as a phenomenon known as the Romeo and Juliet effect. As we know, Romeo, Montego, and Juliet Capulet were the ill-fated Shakespearean characters whose love was doomed by a feud between their families, defining what paternal attempts to keep them apart. The teenagers won a lessened union in the tragic act of twin suicide, an ultimate assertion of free will. The tendency of the couple's feelings and actions has always been a source of wonderment and puzzlement to observers of the play. How could such inordinate devotion develop so quickly in a person young? A romantic might suggest rare and perfect love. A social scientist, though, might point to the role of parental interference and the psychological reactance it can produce. Perhaps the passion of Romeo and Juliet was not initially so consuming as it transcended the extensive banners erected by the families. Perhaps instead, it was fueled to a white heat by the placement of those barriers. Would it be that the youngsters being left to their own devices? Their inflamed devotion would have amounted to no more than a flicker of puppy love? Guys, guess what? This is the end of the episode. So guys, thank you very much for joining. I really appreciate the fact that you choose to invest some time for me. And I can't wait to see you all on tomorrow's episode with the Guest Book Club in the Board Book Club. Until then, have a great time. Take care of yourself and goodbye.